it'll take a little time to know for sure, but I think incline more to the symbolic end of the spectrum of the different alternative explanations that your correspondent in Moscow just laid out. I'm asking what took him so long. Of course, Kim Jong-un has not been in power quite as long as Vladimir Putin, on and off, but it's been 7 years, as Kim himself remarked when he arrived in Russia. And it's been more than a year since Kim Jong-un began diplomatic outreach, but he's been 4 times to China already, 3 times to South Korea, 3 times to talking with the South Korean president, not going to South Korea. So you could see where the priorities are. And finally, he got to Russia. And of course, it is saying to Trump, I do have other options, but I don't think it is a huge, big deal, historic event. I mean, no concrete agreement for starters.
You mentioned their priorities. What are the individual leaders' priorities?
Trump, of course, trying to be helpful. Sorry if there is a large smile on my face. Clearly, we are all aware of the international situation that basically both Russia and China, whatever their own differences, have in common a certain antagonism to the US. Kim Jong-un has got economic as well as political priorities. I mean, yes, he's sort of coming out in the world. I mean, for somebody who was the leader of a pariah state, much mocked in social media in the past, he's now a respectable international statesman, meeting lots of people. He would like money, and one of the curious things, considering that Russia, well, the Soviet Union, Russia's predecessor, was the state that founded North Korea 70 years ago, putting Kim's grandfather into power, who had served in the Russian army, by the way, long ties. And bankrolled it for years, etc., though it was rather ungrateful, not a good ally. But trade is now very small. Economically, it's China that counts. And so there's occasionally you get talk about modernizing the railways, which you can't do under sanctions. Anyway, but, nothing big on trade, nothing concretely mentioned. Sanctions are a problem. So, as I say, more symbolic, I think. Kim Jong-un may have been disappointed in terms of what he got, or at least we don't know.
Well, what about the relationship between Kim Jong-un and the US? Will this summit have had any impact at all?
Probably not, because Kim Jong-un, it's now, 2 months since the Hanoi summit, such a big build-up and failed so spectacularly, I think because of, very crass and moves by the United States, offering something that the North Koreans clearly weren't going to bite, total disarmament, etc. So it's since then direct criticism from North Korea calling on Secretary of State Mike Pompeo to be replaced. Of course, one doesn't tell other countries who one's talking to whom they can actually send. Kim Jong-un's replaced his hardliner, actually, Kim Yong-chol, which is quite interesting. So nothing is really doing on the US front, and North Korea is also being very mean to South Korea, which seems unfair to President Moon, who's tried to be such a peacemaker in all of this. So it's a very uncertain situation at the moment, to be honest. And the great hopes of peace that a number of us had, despite having been disappointed so many times over the years with North Korea from last year, now it's completely up in the air, and Trump is unpredictable anyway. So what happens next? Who knows?